Adam Taxon on Monday, November 10th, 2014, talking with my friend Rabbi Kurinsky, who's the head rabbi at Chabad at the Beaches in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, which you can find online at chabadbeaches.com, and that's ChabadBeaches.com. And we're going to talk about the Jewish view of veterans and Veterans Day, because tomorrow is Veterans Day. Rabbi Kurinsky, thanks for talking to me. Where should we start first?
Well, first of all, good evening or good morning, whatever part of the day you're listening to this program. Firstly, about veterans. I mean, look, we as Jews and as Americans, we have a lot to be grateful for. Firstly, as Americans, we have such an incredible country that was founded on principles of freedom and of freedom of religion and freedom of right to worship and our right to express ourselves. And those rights are rights that are given to us by or protected by our Constitution, but they're protected by people, our veterans, a lot of friends and family members that are out there. They serve and they actually fight wars. They put themselves at risk. They put their families, their whole family structure at risk, and they don't get paid a lot. And they do that simply to give us the freedom, give us our freedom. So we're very grateful to all of our veterans and everything that they do. And we also really just general Judaism, where we put such a premium on gratitude, and these are people that really deserve it. There's the things that they do are just absolutely selfless, and they epitomize so many different aspects of Jewish values. Just putting other people first, protecting, really fighting for a good cause, really being people that are generally fighting for freedom, fighting for liberty, and doing all this really for very little benefit. So really appreciate them on this Veterans Day.
And one thing from the Jewish perspective, particularly in the case of Chabad, a lot of Jews came to the U.S. not so much for economic reasons as really fleeing persecution, and and in many cases they were only liberated. I'm speaking specifically about the Holocaust, World War II, by American veterans, often Russian veterans as well in Eastern Europe. But there's another aspect of it too, like they might have been killed otherwise.
Yeah, people often ask why didn't Jews fight back during World War II? Why didn't we defend ourselves? Why wasn't there an uprising? And historically, if you look at the world at the time, pre-World War II world, it was really nowhere for Jews to go. There were very few countries where Jews were accepted or allowed.
Yeah,
very few countries that Jews were. I mean, we had nowhere to go.
Yeah, FDR was not exactly so good for the Jews, despite so many Jews, especially secular Jews, devotion to Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He really wasn't so good in that regard. The quotas were there.
Look, that's right. I often think the United States began post World War II. That was really a country with. But it's really World War II, the greatest generation. These guys, they really founded the United States in a lot of ways. The way we know it, the way we experience the United States today, with the real freedom of religion, the whole influx of Jewish people. I mean, it really began after World War II. And it's a lot of the credit has to do with those very brave men that went there and fought and really expected not to come home. But they went there fighting a real war, a war against genuine evil, and they were very clear about what they were doing. And us as Jewish people, look, we suffered more than anyone. 6.5 million Jews died, and these veterans came and saved us. We came to the United States. And it's the first time in the history of mankind. Just imagine this, Adam, that in the history of mankind, there has never once has been a country, a secular country, that has protected and allowed Jews to be free to practice our religion. And not only are we allowed to practice our religion in the United States, we're actually protected. Our religious rights are protected. So for me to wear a kippah, I walk down the street with a kippah or a yarmulke on my head. Somebody were to knock my yarmulke off my head. If he did it as a jerk, it would be a to live in an incredible country. And it's a secular country, but it's not a country with any specific religion. We have freedom of religion, but not freedom from religion. We have a freedom with the right to practice our religion. And these rights are only there because somebody is defending those rights. There's somebody out there protecting us. There are many people out there, millions of people defending us, and that's what Veterans Day is all about, taking those people that are defending our rights and protecting us. And us as Jews, I mean, without the United States, and the Western culture that it embodies and really spread from the United States, we really don't have another place to go outside of Israel, outside of any Jewish theocracy. There is no place where a Jew can practice and be genuinely free.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk on a more broad level about gratitude, not just to veterans. And I think the term is hakarat hatov, and I thought maybe you could explain that a little bit.
Well, it's a very beautiful concept. I mean, we find this whole concept of hakarat hatov, of appreciating good. You know, Judaism, the Torah teaches us, Judaism teaches us the first thing we do in the morning. We wake up in the morning and we say a prayer. We thank God for returning our soul to us. And then we do something very unique. We thank God, we use the bathroom, and we thank God for the ability to use the bathroom. And that's rather than prayers, what we really call prayers, really not, many of them are not really prayers. They're really just statements of gratitude, thanking God for giving us all the different things in our life that we have, our bodily functions, thanking God for our financial stability, thanking God for our lives, thanking God, and King David writes that we thank God 100 times every single day. And we you know, one of the highlights of the Amidah, which is considered to be the standing prayer, the holiest part of the prayers, and they're said 3 times every day. We say Modem Anachnu Lach. We thank God for giving us what we call natural miracles. In other words, occurrences, everyday occurrences, and we sometimes think of miracles as God splitting the sea or God doing things that are above nature, but really we thank God for what we call miracles. Those are all the occurrences that happen within nature. That is, nature itself is an act of God. So this whole attitude of gratitude, this whole attitude of being appreciative for what we have and what we do is a basic tenet of what Judaism stands for. And it's really thanking God for providing us our basic necessities and giving us all the things in life. Very often people think about what they need and what they want, and they don't really appreciate what they have, right? If you think about, you buy a car and immediately you start thinking about the next car. I think about the iPhone. You know, we get the iPhone 4, it was a great phone, right? And then the 4S comes out, and suddenly everybody wants the iPhone 4S, and everyone just thinks of their iPhone 4 as a brick, and it's in their pocket. They feel like it's a heavy object that they just don't want it. It's just old, and they get the 4S, and then the 5 comes out, and suddenly the old phone is no good anymore. What happened to that old phone that was just fine, that was working great? Mm-hmm. But it's because we're so focused on what else we want, we don't stop necessarily to appreciate what we have.
Right.
So there's really nothing wrong with buying something new, or if you need a new phone, then by all means get a new phone. You need a new car, get a nice car, but appreciate what you have now. If we appreciate what we have now, our life would be much, much more enriched, and we'd simply be much, much happier people. So the Torah teaches us that gratitude is something that we do 100 times every single day. And 100 times.
And you mentioned the Torah. Right now, I guess there are about 4 or 5 different parshas, weekly readings, that could occur on Veterans Day or Veterans Day week. We happen to be reading the parsha called Chaye Sarah, which is Bereshit, Genesis in English, chapters 23, 24, and part of 25. And there's stuff in there about gratitude, and I thought maybe you could go over that a little bit with us, because it's timely.
Well, one of the really beautiful things about the Torah portion is it begins with Chaye Sarah. It begins with, it's literally translated as the life of Sarah. Ironically, this is the Torah portion in which she passes away. So she actually passes away right at the beginning of the Torah portion, and one of the on this theme of gratitude, she is a woman who is by all accounts one of the greatest people to ever walk the face of this earth. She's an absolutely incredible woman. She's a woman who the Torah says she was 100 years old, she was 20 years old, and she was 6. A funny way to say somebody was 126 and said she was 100 because she was just like the 100 blessings. It was perfect. She She was 20 in her beauty. She was a very beautiful person, and she was 6 in the sense that she was innocent. She had that purity of a 6-year-old, and so here's a person who was constantly, always just a beaming light, and somebody who converted hundreds of thousands of women. So Abraham converted hundreds of thousands of men to monotheism, and Sarah converted hundreds of thousands of women to monotheism. And so here's a woman who has an incredible, or probably one of the most impactful people in the history of mankind, or certainly in the history of the Bible. And when she passes away, the Torah says her impact was so strong that her life was, the day she died wasn't the day, what we don't call it the day, we don't mourn her death. It was Ichai Sarah. She lived a full life. Mm-hmm. She was a person who was so beaming with goodness that the day of death was a day that was almost celebrated, because she was such a full life. That's really what gratitude is all about, living a life like Sarah.
Well, Rabbi Kurinsky, I'm going to be in northern Florida before too long, so we're going to actually... I think this is the first video we've ever made where we were not in the same place, we're just putting pictures up there, but I look forward to doing quite a few videos with you in the next few weeks on a variety of topics. And thank you for your time.
Safe travels, Adam, and I'm very grateful for the video.
Happy Veterans Day.